All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we take declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, which means full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video, whatever, main video, wherever you're at. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. We got our full, intent spectrum here. High intent peeps over on the left, lowest intent peeps over on the right. For boudoir photography business is rising, most likely we're pulling in people from the entire intent spectrum. And if our boudoir photography business is falling, we're missing chunks of people across somewhere on the intent spectrum. So here we're talking about BSS, the highest intent peeps. These people search for boudoir photo shoots right now on all the different four big social media sites. So social search and Google search. And over way on the right, that is our brand Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We talk about BLCS. We currently only work with the boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. And so Facebook ads has the lowest intent peeps, interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram, which is going to be actually the largest volume of people that exist in a city. All right, so BSS, boudoir search sameness. So in a boudoir photographer, say there's 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. So 0 slots on page 1 on Google, so we're on page 2 or deeper, effectively invisible, because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market ain't never going to see if we're on page 2 or deeper. And we actually want to, even if we got 1 slot, it's still not good enough. That's still boudoir search sameness because we look the same as everyone else. Everyone else can have 1 slot as well. So what's a buyer going to do? They're just going to, right click, open everyone's website, open a new tab, everyone down page 1. Probably won't even go to page 2, which is approximately 80% of searchers never do. So we're going to assume that they don't even go to page 2. I'm just going to contact every boudoir photographer on page 1 near them and get price quotes and call it a day, and then kind of pick the best out of all those. So as a result, boudoir search sameness, no bueno. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google is actually not normal. That's extremely common. It's not normal to have that few number of slots page 1 on Google. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First one everyone knows about, nearly everyone knows about, market saturation. Second one, nearly nobody knows about, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, that's someone gets a new iPhone and they throw up their Google My Business profile and their website's in there now for boudoir, or they're now a boudoir photographer. And get new gear like a camera, then they're posting the mom Facebook groups saying they're now for boudoir photo shoots. So market saturation, more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, increases in the supply side, makes it harder for each seller to, make a sale. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality. Okay, this is, from what I've seen, is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses, where originally people accepted page 1 equality as normal. Like, it's normal for every boudoir photographer to have either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. And yeah, I was ranked, my website was ranked on page 1, but, someone else came in, their website got ranked above mine. I got pushed off to page 2, but, that's simply how it is. I simply got to accept it. There's nothing I can do. It's just part of the game. When actually this is 100% false. This is a 100% false belief, because what I have learned is Google will actually give as many slots on page 1 to those who want to put in the effort to acquire those slots. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google search in only 10 days. So I know this is true. I've done it. And so this false belief of page 1 equality, it's like a mental cage. People don't even look for a solution. They don't even try to figure something out because they don't even know it's possible. But in 2 pictures here, we'll see that it actually is possible, or 4 or 5 pictures here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. And That's because, if we got 0 slots on page 1, we're on page 2. Approximately 80% of searches never even going to find us. So yes, we're disappearing. Even if we got 1 slot on page 1, not good enough. We look the same as everyone else. Going to be price shop compared to everyone else. And a buyer's just going to click and open everyone's website on page 1 and price shop everyone. So we got to get more slots on page 1 to kick out. And also, so we got more slots on page 1. We're also kicking out our competitors. So actually, we get price shopped against fewer peeps. And disappearing boudoir photographer, it's like the canary in a coal mine. If we got BSS or disappearing boudoir photographer, we are, pretty. That means the business is on the path to disappearing as well. So luckily, we now have a solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, our SQ'd methodology, and it works exactly like it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, kind of like, the small rivers flowing down the backside of the Andes Mountains. And once we do that, saturate, that flows into the Amazon River, which is Google page 1 search. That's the end result of doing SQ'd methodology correctly. And again, yes, I have done this for myself. Now, the magical thing about SQ'd methodology is it's the only thing I've seen for boudoir photographers that is able to successfully get rid of, fight against and actually overcome market saturation. So why is that? Let's say we're in DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Or let's say we're in DC. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers in DC. They all got a website saying they do boudoir photography. Same as us, we're one of them. Everyone's fighting to be ranked page 1 on Google. But let's say we crank up SQ'd methodology to the max. So we crank up SQ'd methodology to the max, and we take the first 300 slots across all, on social search. It's all us. And as a result, or the first 300 searches on Google for also the highest intent buyer keywords, those who want a boudoir photo shoot in their city. And as a result, literally the first 30 pages, organic search results on Google, is us. It's it's 10. It's literally 10 organic slots per page. So we take the first 30 pages up with our 300 slots that we've captured, and our competitors, nobody can find them on organic results until the organic search results till page 31. So when buyers search anywhere, social or Google, we're basically the only one that they find. I mean, they probably ain't going to page 31 on Google. So as a result, whose business is growing? Ours. Even though there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers in our city. And why is that? Because buyers can't, it's hard for them to even find anyone else because we've saturated search everywhere so strongly across social and Google. So again, this is the only solution I've seen that allows boudoir photographers to successfully outcompete market saturation. Something that has momentum. Sure, ads, they give me one more slot on Google for PPC, but their momentum goes down to 0 once you stop spending for them. SQ'd methodology, it maintains momentum. It has momentum, not infinite momentum, but it has way more momentum than an ad that instantly drops to 0 momentum once you stop spending for it. Now, once treated with SQ'd methodology, we have page 1 visibility. A bonus side effect of this is for every new slot we occupy on page 1, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Remember, approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. Yeah, we're making them invisible to approximately 4/5 of the marketplace. And obviously, that means we're going to be price shopped against fewer boudoir photographers. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. We have the GBC recommended minimum. We want to hit 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. I feel like that's kind of the first maximum point that we reach, where if every other boudoir photographer has 1 and we got 3, and subconsciously buyers going to be thinking, man, why is Google pushing this person 3 times? Everyone else only 1. I'll click all three on this one person. And in the very rare chance someone else has two, well, we'll be, you know, out competing them as well because we got three. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one inequality, which everyone used to accept as normal, but more and more people are not accepting as normal anymore. We now have the solution, luckily, finally, S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, next up, my results using S-cubed methodology for myself. So I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one on Google. So let's go down to the organic slots. So organic slot page one, or organic slot one, IG, me. Slot two, me. Slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. Slot 10, me. So I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page one on Google. And I exclusively used S-cubed methodology to achieve this. So these are the results I've gotten. All right, now to our main event here. We're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search for local Washington, D.C. Well, technically that's city, and then region. All right, so the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to DC. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've got boudoir search sameness. You search, locally, and do a local search and a city search for the high intent keywords. And you got boudoir search sameness, and you've realized now that page one equality is a false belief, and now we have a methodology to take as many page one slots as we want, depending on how much effort we want to put in. And we actually we see the market saturation, and we see what AI is doing to people's jobs. And as a result, we know that as AI takes more and more people's jobs, the amount of boudoir photographers over time is actually going to increase. Because what happened during COVID? Lots of people lost their jobs, put themselves out there as boudoir photographers, got the website, got the Facebook page, got the Google My Business profile, like a whole big, deluge of boudoir photographers entered the market, pushing a ton of people off page one that have been there for a while. And so you're saying, okay, AI is going to take more people's jobs. It's going to have way more boudoir photographers entering the market. We need to position ourselves, defend our territory, and actually get more territory on page one of Google. So when these boudoir photographers come in, they don't affect our business at all because we'll have so much coverage on page one. They'll be forced to be on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. And we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even go to page 2. They stay right on page 1. So we'll be hitting the bulk of the searchers, and we'll actually be pushing off our current competitors off page 1 as well. And so you're seeing at 3, the S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there. And you also see kind of the back-end bonuses of using it, we haven't even talked about yet, which are, when we're ranked for these high intent keywords across all social search, and then that pulls into Google search, it creates like thematic keyword pillars of our brand, our name, our account names, our brand, our website, and it increases the probability. We show up here for AI overview for local and city search, increases that probability. It increases the probability we show up for AI search in all AI search positions or apps like ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Gemini search. Kind of, it's a back end benefit because we're having these thematic keyword pillars all around our brand. Where, last time I used ChatGPT search, asking about boudoir photographers in the city, dude, it brought up 3. That was it. And so, kind of the back end benefits is we're future proofing the business because more and more people are going to be using AI search and basically kind of dominating social search, flows through to dominating page 1 Google search, which is kind of the canary in the coal mine. If we're increasing the probability, we're ranking on AI search, which would, there's no back end number of how close we are to ranking on it, but all these things that we're doing increases that probability. So we're kind of hitting like 5 different birds with one stone. And also you're noticing that if someone else in your city hops on this first and gets this momentum to all these benefits first, then, well, one, I cannot work with you because current plan is only work with one person per city. And 2, you have to figure out how to do this SQ methodology yourself and all the time to implement it. And you don't even know if you're doing it correctly. So we have our own proprietary methodology. And you'd have to equal our output to maintain against us if we're already working with someone else in the same city. And you'd have to exceed our output to actually make progress on us and all the momentum we would have already made with another boudoir photographer in your current city, to kind of get these thematic keyword pillars attached to our brand. So it's kind of just this big, massive momentum builder for whoever's the first mover boudoir photographer in their city. And we got our final 6 questions here as always. If basically how many slots you think could actually get on page 1 of Google. Remember, this is downstream of already in the top ranked page 1 of social search on all the social search engines. And how many more boudoir clients could that bring for the lifetime of the business, and then how much profit would that generate for the lifetime of the business? And then if someone else went with me first and is it possible you get kicked off page 1 Google search and get relegated to page 2 or page 3, how much would that increase or decrease the probability to get buyers over your business lifetime? How many buyers do you believe you could lose, and how much lifetime profit could you lose? So if you decide SQ methodology is for you, you definitely want it. This is the thing you've been looking for, waiting for. And shoot me a DM when I open for new patient intake. My DMs are closed right now. Hospital is closed, but when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we will see if you qualify.